Hi, welcome to the Drama Free Living podcast with Dennis and Lisa McIntee. And Lisa, we're finishing up the series on burnout, work-life balance.
And why it matters.
Right. So we're really talking about work more, balance less. No, not necessarily.
Balance more, work less?
Yeah, something like that. But it's been great. We talked about some lies and really kind of debunking some of the myths. It's kind of been Mythbusters about work-life balance.
And we talked about what are the effects all around in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, when you are out of balance.
Yep.
And then what are the benefits? What are the perks of having a good work-life balance? And one of the things that was super important that I don't know if people really get, or I'm not sure if our culture gets, is this is so individualized. Every single person.
I think that's the key.
The companies, it is so individualized. What it looks like to you is only something that you can define.
Yeah, and I think that's been probably the biggest takeaway and the reminder for me. And this is, okay, I got to tell you, this is my most, out of the 4, this is the one I've been looking to the most because we're going to talk about some quick hacks. We came up with 14 quick hacks and we want to kind of run through it. And we want you just to pick 1 or 2 just to try out. And there's strategies that you can use to really get that work-life balance. And if you have not downloaded Your Ideal Life, it's the Personal Constraints Analysis. Download it. It's free for you. You can kind of do a diagnostic and self-assessment on your entire life and figure out, hey, these are areas that I need to work on. So therefore,
right. And with this diagnostic, what it does is it helps you figure out at the end of my life, am I going to turn around and be filled with regret?
Yeah.
Or am I going to turn around and be like, yeah, that was a life really well lived?
Yeah. So Lisa, why don't you start us off here on the hacks?
First tip, first hack, a task time capsule.
Task time capsule. Okay.
Gosh, that's hard to say.
Yeah, you did good though.
Task time capsule. Okay, so Patrick Lencioni, he's got a Working Genius podcast. Mm-hmm. And one thing that they brought up in the podcast, I think it was the one on burnout, but I've also heard it in multiple other places. It's when you tackle your most challenging and least enjoyable task. Yeah. So on the Working Genius podcast, they talk about how there are certain things that are that you're proficient in. They call them your capabilities. Yeah. And there's things that frustrate you, but then there's things that you are just passionate about, that they're your genius. Yep. And those things, depending on what it is, the things that I'm just super passionate about and really bring life to me, I could do it anytime. But the things that are just competencies or the things that are just frustrations, the things that are capabilities, but they don't necessarily bring my joy, I need to set aside a specific time and realize, hey, when I go in on this week, I'm going to pick Tuesday and I'm going to pick this time frame and I am going to do these difficult, challenging things. And then really being able to reframe and know, okay, this is tough, but I've got all of these things that bring me joy. And after I do this tough thing, I'm going to do this next assignment, this next task that brings me passion and brings me joy. And then it makes it so, yes, this task that's challenging is very tedious and it's daunting, but I have something to look forward to and I know it's not going to be my whole week, and it keeps away the Sunday scaries. Okay. And the action step is really to recognize and reframe. Yep. Recognize that you have items that frustrate you.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. This frustrates me, and block out the time you're going to do it. That way you don't procrastinate. Yep. And then
that's good.
Reframe. So recognize and reframe. Reframe knowing that there are things in your day that you love and focus on the good.
Yep.
So recognize and reframe.
Awesome. And then the next one is digital sunset. So
love digital sunset.
So tell us about
digital sunset. Makes me so happy. So our lives are so interconnected with technology, with internet, with all of these things, right? And a digital sunset basically is we disconnect. Mm-hmm. Digital sunset technically is when the sun goes down, you disconnect, and when the sun comes up, you reconnect. But it separates our work from our personal lives. Yeah, and it helps improve our quality of sleep. And so this action step, what is a digital sunset? How do we do it? Really, put your technology into do not disturb mode or into airplane mode, like maybe the last hour of the day before you go to bed, right? And then you keep it on do not disturb or airplane mode through the first hour of your waking. Yeah. So then you have very strong boundaries and bumpers of, okay, this is when I'm disconnected. And it's a way to signal to your brain and to your life that you have shut down. And then an hour after you're up, it's like, okay, my digital sunset is over and I'm connected back in.
Yeah, awesome. And another hack is hobby hour. I like this one, right? It really enriches your life, kind of reduces stress. And listen, the action step here is really, dedicate an hour a week to a hobby you love, but you don't feel like you have time for. Now, it could be an hour a week, maybe even go to an hour a day, but set aside, hey, I'm going to set a goal for these many hours this week to work on this hobby. And it really, you'll find your energy and your fulfillment increasing. But it's sort of that thing that you love, and only you know what you love.
But you don't ever get time to do it.
Yeah. And just sort of set that aside at time and just do it. Like one thing I'm thinking of, I bought a model, or actually you bought me a model from London.
Yep.
And I realized, okay, you know what? I'm just going to set an hour, because sometimes I think I want to sit down and do it all right now and spend 8 hours. And really, what if I just spend an hour a week and, just start to just take some time? So hobby hour. Another hack is, this is my favorite, plan a weekend getaway.
I think they're all your favorite.
Yeah, I really like free time. I like free time. I like fun time. And really this weekend getaway kind of refreshes your energy and your creativity, right?
And you don't have to take vacation days to do this.
Yeah, just like, hey, from Friday, I remember even saying to you, it's like it would be a Friday afternoon, say, hey, listen, I'm on vacation until Monday morning. Right? And
it was a way to psych your brain.
Yeah,
I'm on vacation.
Yeah, kind of trick your brain. So listen, you don't even have to go away and spend money necessarily to do these things. Some people think, well, I don't have all the money to go take this weekend getaway. It's this idea of plan a 2-day weekend vacation just in the next couple months, just over some time, just plan a 2-day weekend getaway and do it.
Yep. Okay, the next one is a fun budget.
Fun.
Okay, so sometimes we struggle with feelings of financial scarcity, and then it's hard to really spend money on things that we find fun, for ourselves or fun experiences. But really, fun experiences, that's a form of self-care, and just instilling some frivolity into our lives. Well, the action step is to create a fun budget.
And I think that's the key, create a budget where you're not spending money you don't have, right? But create this budget.
Or you're not stealing from your food budget.
Yeah.
And it can be just a couple dollars. I mean, fun to you can be anything. It's your definition of fun, but create a fun budget. Set aside a small amount of money to just spend on an experience, on something that would be rejuvenating. Now, this is not necessarily on a thing, but it's more on an experience, just a fun budget.
Because it isn't interesting. We remember experiences, right? Think about, Lisa, like we just got back from Phoenix, Scottsdale area. And I think the thing that I'll remember is climbing those 2 peaks, those 2 mountain peaks, right? And I don't necessarily will remember some of maybe the task or the things we bought, but I really remember those experiences. And so I think that's really powerful. Just, make time for experiences, because that makes life rich.
Well, and, you mentioned that you don't necessarily remember the things that you bought, but that's something that we instilled into our habit of experiences is when we go to somewhere and it's a memorable experience and it's something that produced life and passion in us. We purchase an item that
reminds us of the experience.
That evokes a memory and an emotion about that experience. And so this time we came back with some pottery. Yeah. And when we see that, it will evoke that emotion and that memory of that experience. And those are positive things. Just like when you put your house on the market, they say, it used to be baked cookies. This is before you could put a Pura in your house. But, baked cookies, because that smell of chocolate chip cookies makes people think of home.
It's that experience.
And it's that evoking that emotion and that experience again, recalling it.
Perfect. So create a fun budget. Another one is email office hours. And, this kind of reduces stress instead of have constant notifications, which means email office hours, maybe check email in the morning, check email in the afternoon, and call it a day.
I know so many people that they're always on their email. Just they lose those boundaries and those bumpers, and they just kind of go all over, and they're just checking their email because they have space, and why not?
Well, and there's this dopamine hit, and we won't get into some of those chemical reactions. It's a totally right, and can actually be an addiction. And we have a couple clients that actually have that addiction, and we've tried to it's a real thing.
We've been working with them.
We've been working with them. It's a real thing. Okay, so the next one, Lisa, mindful eating.
Mindful eating.
Yeah.
Eating mindfully enhances your experience, and it gives you a mental break from your workday. And so what this mindful eating, this action step is really before you start your meal, take 5 seconds. Take 5 seconds to feel grateful that you have food to eat,
Yep.
grateful for the people that went into the process of the preparation, and that you have these food items, and grateful that it's providing nourishment to your body, and just really giving thanks, and then slowly savoring it. And as just an idea, you can just do it for the first 3 bites. I mean, if you can make it through the whole meal, I mean, you have won the award. But the first 3 bites, just sit down, take the bites. My mom used to say, chew your food 10 times before you swallow it.
Right.
And it was a different form of mindful eating. I think it was just get us to slow down so we didn't overeat. But, it's notice the taste, notice the texture, notice the aroma, and give yourself that mental break of just savoring.
Yeah, you kind of want to slow down your life to speed up your results.
Absolutely.
Right?
Savor it.
Yeah.
Savor
life.
Savor your life.
Yeah, another hack is life logging, right? So this is really keeping a log of your daily activities personally and professionally, right? So we encourage clients to once a quarter take a log professionally, but I think even personally is a great idea, because then you can really make data decisions. Because sometimes I think, I'm not spending so much time watching television. And then you do a log and you go, wow, I spend 20 hours a week on watching television. And then the question is, do I want to be spending that time watching television? And, you can actually make data-driven decisions instead of what you feel like it is. And so we just encourage clients once a quarter, every 90 days to come back and just do a life log. Just log your time and then sit down and really kind of make these data-driven decisions.
Right.
That's hard to say, data-driven decisions.
And with that, it's very simple. A life log is very simple. It's just hourly.
Yep.
It might be 1 word or it's a couple words. So, I mean, you don't have to log by the minute. This does not have to be difficult. The more minimalistic, the simpler you do this, the more likely you're actually going to do it.
Yeah, and the whole key is data-driven decisions. And I think that's what we really
right, because it gives you a clear assessment of what your life actually looks like.
Yeah, so propose a flex day was one.
Propose a flex day.
Propose it. Just propose it.
To yourself, to your family, or to your higher-ups in your company.
Yeah.
And more companies are, depending on what the industry is, are open to this. But it provides wiggle room within your day that you might need to attend to personal matters, because we all, have different things that need to happen within our lives just to keep our lives running well. And it reduces the stress of having to fit these important things into the 9 to 5 workday or the 8 to 8 workday, whatever your workday looks like.
Yeah.
Well, the action step, is negotiate with your employer for 1 flexible workday per week where you can adjust your hours, but you still get your work done and maybe you still get your hours in, but it's to sort out these personal obligations and self-care activities better.
Yeah, that's perfect. So another one is digital declutter. Okay, so this is unread emails, unnecessary apps, notifications. They create this digital stress. I mean, even the fact that you have notifications on your phone and you see that number, right? So I just took off all the notifications and I just can look at my phone. It just creates this sense of ease and, just sort of, my mind is clear. So the action step is, schedule just even a couple of minutes a day for digital declutter to organize emails, delete unused apps. And, there's nothing like having back zero. Right. And, and that doesn't work for everybody, but, just some way digital declutter.
It's kind of like organizing your junk drawer at home.
Yeah.
Just a couple minutes a day. Don't pull everything out because it's going to take you forever, but just do just a couple minutes a day and digitally declutter.
Yeah. Visual escape, Lisa.
Visual escape.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes we just need a quick mental break. We don't have time. We're in front of our computer. We've got a deadline in front of us, but we just are foggy. We cannot see clear. And sometimes we just need this visual escape where we can refresh a little bit. And all of us have different visual ideas of what just brings us peace or happiness or joy. And the action step is keep a folder. Keep a folder of inspiring images. They could be quotes, and they could be really short, quick videos on your desktop or handy for you to do maybe a 2-minute visual escape just to do a quick de-stress. I know some people watch kitty videos or whatever, but the key is it's a 2-minute, it's a 30-second, a 1 minute. It's just very quick. It's not something to go down the rabbit hole and then end up watching.
Hey, just so you know, if you ever find me watching kitty videos, just call the therapist.
Oh, no, but they're really cute and sometimes they're really funny. I'm just telling you,
if you ever see me watching kitty videos, call my therapist right away.
There was this one that I just saw, and it was really cute, it was this little... It was a door, the screen door, and it parts in the middle. Yeah. And the dog can just go straight through the bottom. Well, I don't know, it kind of freaked the cat out. And so the cat was jumping through it. And so you'd see the cat jump up and crash through it. And honestly, it was just a visual escape. It was just something that was like, that's really cute. That's kind of fun. Okay, now I can get back to work.
That sounds like a visual prison. Visual escape.
And there's proof that everyone has a different definition
Fair enough.
Just shutting down.
Okay, moving on, right? Another one is intentional daydreaming, right? So thinking, wondering, right? So we all spend our waking hours like in kind of go mode. We're got all these activities trying to get somewhere, but I think kind of allowing your mind to wander kind of intentionally can stimulate creativity. And it's one thing the reason I wanted to take this hack is because it's the one thing I'm working on. I remember you coming in to the living room maybe a week ago, and you're like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just practicing being bored.
Which is really good.
Yeah, because
people don't let themselves get bored anymore.
Yeah, it's allow your mind to go to creative spaces and almost like let your mind play and wander and kind of wonder, and you'll find new creativity. Because think about it, like children are so creative. Why? Because they spend their days like daydreaming and playing make-believe and doing these things, right? So the action step is allocate 5 or 10 minutes for intentional daydreaming. Just let your mind go out and play for a little bit. So intentional daydreaming. Another one, technology-free days.
Or internet-free.
Or internet-free, right?
Because it's really hard to do technology-free anymore.
Right. Well, does that mean like I turn my refrigerator off, I turn my electricity off?
I mean, my light bulbs.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe
maybe
internet-free is a better way to say it. I mean, or you could just go, camping in the desert, and then you could go technology-free.
Right. Well, one thing, say like the great thing maybe like about iPhones now is they have focus days and they have different types of days, and I can just put it on personal, where the only people that ever get me on personal is, the kids, you, or my mom. And if a work text comes in or a client call, it goes right to, and it allows me just to kind of shut off my brain. So it looks different for different people what that means to you, but only you know what rejuvenates you. But we just want to encourage you, like schedule and choose one day a week or one day a month and just go free, go internet free or technology free, whatever that looks like, and kind of use it to rejuvenate yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our last one is set boundaries between work and personal life.
Okay.
Set boundaries. Okay. This involves clearly defining your boundaries between your work hours, right? Because honestly, we bring work home, or work is home because we remote work. Yeah. And it
could be space boundaries, time boundaries, all these different types
all these different boundaries. And things just begin to blur like watercolors, the blue and the red blurs, and it's all just purple, and life is all purple, and we no longer have work life and personal life anymore. And And then what's the fun in that if it's all just one color? And it's very stressful. Yeah. So our action step.
Yep.
Okay. Use rituals or cues to signal the end of the workday, where the mind is to shut down on work and the body is to shut down on work and to begin to open up on personal. And it's a transition between work and personal life. I know someone that they remote work and they work hard and they work all day long, and pretty much I think almost every time or frequently they shut the computer and then they go and take a shower.
And that shower is sort of that transition time, and when they get out of the shower, that's right.
Right, and it's a ritual that they do regularly, and they switch over. Now, other people, they change their clothes. Other people, it's just a matter of shutting their computers down. And that doesn't matter. I'm not talking just about if you're remote working. I'm also talking if you work in office and you bring things home.
Right.
Or maybe you don't bring your computer home, but your mind is going. Still, you need some sort of a ritual. It used to be that when people worked in office, they would utilize the drive home as that ritual to decompress and to transition into personal life before we were bringing all these things home. And so it's a matter of us adjusting with what our occupation is, what our technology is, our location of work, and just having a set transition that our body knows, okay, and our mind knows, I am moving over into work life, because then it keeps our blue and our red watercolors from blurring and making everything purple.
Yeah, and I think at the core, Lisa, of all these different hacks is really to make sure that we own technology doesn't own us, or we own our schedule doesn't own us, right? And we're just very intentional about the types of lives that we want to live, so that we get to the end of it and we realize, wow, we lived a very fulfilled, successful, meaningful life of contribution.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's kind of the key. So, I'm maybe just kind of confess something real quick, okay?
Oh, no.
So, because I'm just thinking as we're talking, and like my big takeaway is I need to do a digital declutter. And here's what I mean by that. Do you know, I realized I think I have voicemails saved on my phone from like 5 or 6 years ago. When I scroll through all my voicemails, and I thought, why are these even on? And a little bit, it kind of clutters my mind. So I think my big takeaway is I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a digital declutter and get rid of some of these voicemails, because it's kind of cluttering up my mind. So, there's my truth that I just kind of want to get out there.
Well, and I love that, because there are some people, their inbox is full, and I don't even know how that happens anymore, but you literally can't leave them a message because they have too many messages.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's still possible anymore, but that was maybe a year ago I was still getting it. Yeah. But one thing I do want to say, and I have done that multiple times, is deleted out old voicemails. But what I've done is I have looked at who the sender was.
Yeah.
And there are certain people, there are certain voice messages that I have saved from years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful, because one of them was my father-in-law, who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I have a voicemail on my phone. And if I ever want to, I can pull it up and I can listen to it. So if you're going to clear out your voicemails, hold off and save some of those that might be something meaningful.
Yeah.
But I love that. I absolutely love that.
Big takeaway for you.
Big takeaway for me. It is not one size fits all. It is, what is success to you is completely different than success to me. What is a rewarding life and fulfilling life, or a rewarding day for me, is different than you. It's different than the person down the hall. Yeah. And no one can define what a successful, fulfilled, happy life is to me except me. And I do myself an injustice, and I take away my own uniqueness when I let someone else define it.
I love it. So Your Ideal Life, Personal Constraints Analysis, it's there for you. Download it if you haven't. It's a diagnostic on 6 areas of your life.
And use it just to see, hey, how am I doing? It's a little checkup. How am I doing? Am I balanced? Am I going where I want to go? Am I really living the way I want to live? Or at the end of this year, am I going to regret it?
Awesome. Listen, when you improve, everything around you improves. We'll see you next time on the Drama Free Living Podcast.